Hello there, this is Sheldon again. Welcome back to iOS eTutorials. First, I really want to say happy holidays, guys. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So, in this tutorial, I will talk about CoreData, which is an API developed by Apple to manage the SQLite database in our local system. So this will be a starting of a series of the tutorials using different ways to manage local files. So in this series, I will talk about CoreData, I will talk about NSFileManager, as well as Plist Storage, and also we can use NSUserDefault as well. So the reason I do this first because one of my subscriber is requesting this tutorial with fetching data from CoreData and then using search bar in table view to filter the data that we fetched. Okay, so I hope you'll enjoy this video, and this one probably will be the last video tutorial that I made at the end of 2016. And I really hope you guys support my channel, and it's pretty hard for a new channel when there's so many subscribers. So if you really like iOS programming and want to gain knowledge with me, I really recommend you to subscribe. So enough words, let's dig in. So here we are at the Xcode, and let's create a single view application called CoreData demo 1. Okay, so don't forget to check this use CoreData here. In this case, you can have some extra function automatically set up in the app delegate. Okay, so now if we go to app delegate, oh, by the way, I've made my font of the text really big this time to make you guys to see it more clearer. So like I said, if you come to this app delegate and scroll down to the bottom, you're gonna see this function called persistent container as well as save context. This is pre-set up by Apple. If you check that use CoreData, means this will we're gonna use these functions to help us get access to CoreData. Also as well, you may notice that we will have this Xdata model ID kind of file. This file, we're going to use it later to create entities. So for now, let's create one class to manage all CoreData functions. We can call it CoreData Manager. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. And it will be a subclass of NSObject. Let's first create a function called getContext, because context is the way you access the data from CoreData. In this one, we're going to return NSManaged. Okay, we need to import CoreData first. So import CoreData, and let's return as managed object context. So first we need to access app delegate, like I said. Next, we're gonna return app delegate dot persistent container dot view context. In this case, we're returning NS managed object. If you're not sure what we're doing, we can actually check the function here. In here, we get the value of the property of persistent container, and then we are accessing and get the view context. So the reason we make it private class because we're gonna use it only in this CoreData Manager. Okay, So now we need to make one function called store obj, which is store object into our core data. So first, we can define context is equal to get context. And also we need to make this as class function as well. Don't forget to make a class function, because you are accessing a class function inside of instance function, which makes it impossible. So if you want to invoke a class function within another function, you need to make this function itself to be a class function. Okay, in this project, I plan to save some strings, integers, just some data. So we're gonna first find entity, which is equal to NSEntity description dot entity for entity name. We're gonna use this function to find entity, and next step we can use the entity to save value in our core data. So we need to come to this data model now. Let's create one entity called let's say image entity, and let's put some name, make it type of string by string as well as year string. I mean, it doesn't have to be string, I just take all string as example here. Okay, so now we have an image entity which has each line of the table has 3 columns. So the first column will be name, second will be by, and third one will be year. Okay, so if we come back to our core data manager, we can finish this line with image entity in manage context, which is the context that we just defined. Okay, so next step we need to create managed object. This is the object of kind NSManaged object with the entity that we just create and with some info, which is managed object context again. Okay, so now we have entity, we have a managed object, and next step we can use managed object dot set value for key. So we can set a random name. Let's see, image 0 for key name, manage object set value image 1. No, this time we're gonna set Sheldon for key by, and next step set value 2016 for key year. So this key here must be matching the key here. One thing to notice that when you create entity, the first character must be capital 1, and when you create the column attribute, the first character must be lowercase. Okay, so anyways, this guys has to be matching the keys here. Okay, so next step, we're gonna save our context into our table. So because Apple write it in a do try and arrow format, so we need to do try and catch. Okay, so here we try context save. We can print saved. And in catch, we can print arrow dot localized description. Okay, so in this case, we will be giving an object with its name, image with its by the author, and the image with the year that is taken. So if we come to the view controller, we can put something in the view deload, which is CoreData dot store object. In this case, we are storing this object into our core data. Okay, so now we have some arrow that is unable to load class named image entity for entity image entity. Class not found. Use default NSFileManager object instead. Okay, it shows some message, but as we can see here, it is saved indeed. So let's run our project another time. So in this time, we should have two objects stored in the table now. It shows the same warning, but it shows item is saved. So we have finished the first part, which is save the data into core data. Next, we're gonna do load the data from core data. Fetch object. Okay, so let's first, because the content we will fetch will be an array, because we may have multiple objects there in the table, and when we fetch, we'll get an array. So let's first define an array. Before we fetch, I think it's better for us to create a simple model that has three property, which is image, name, image, year, and the image by. And we can give initial value to them as empty string everywhere. Okay, so we are creating one image item with three properties: name, year, and by. In this case, we're gonna return an array of image item. So at the end of this function, we will get an array of image item. So I think this is a better way to show the result. Okay, so at the end we will return this array. Okay, now we can create the fetch request, which is type of NSFetch. Oh, come on, Xcode compiler. Request, and we can put image entity here, which is called image entity.fetch request. So we're creating the fetch request. So in the middle, if you cannot find the value here for the image entity, you just need to hit Shift, Command, and K to clean your Xcode project. So in the newest Xcode 8, there's some linking issue that sometimes you cannot find this value, which is write the value that you define here as your entity name, which is image entity in our case. So now we have defined our fetch request, and we're ready to fetch the data now. Okay, so still we need to do try and catch. In here, we try let fetch result is equal to try context. Get context to find our context, and then fetch using this request, which is the one that we just created, which is fetch request. Maybe I put fetch result there. Okay, this should return us something, which should be an array of image item. Because we have saved twice, as you may remember, we invoked the store object there twice. So if we come to our view controller and we put CoreData.Manager.Fetch object, in this case, we are invoking the store object for the third time. And for now, it should print an array with 3 items. This warning is showing because we didn't do anything, because we're returning an array of objects, but we didn't use it. So that's why we have this warning. But for now, okay, as you may see here, we are having 3 items. Although the 3 items are only showing 1 item because we are returning these 2 as fault. The reason that we returning this as fault because we are having 3 items, but all the 3 values have it the same by Sheldon, name, image, and year 2016. So that's the reason we only returning 1 result, but we have 3 items. Okay, so next step, we have fetched the item here, but we didn't return the image item as an array of this model. So we can use the for loop for item in fetch result. Okay, or we can define image item init. Okay, so we'd better to give some initial value there. We can create another init function name, which is string, year, which is a string, by, which is also a string. Okay, in this case, self.image name is equal to name, self.image year is equal to year, self.image by is equal to by. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna invoke the second init function, in which we're gonna put item dot name there, item dot year there, and item dot by there. And we're gonna append this item into our array. Let image. Okay, we're having some issue. Okay, now it's gone. Okay, if we remove the fetch result, and we can print image dot image name here. And if we come to the view controller, we can remove the first function, which means we will keep having 3 items here. If we print out all the values, it should be printing the name 3 times because we have 3 items, and all of the 3 items having the same name image 0. I mean, you can play around with this function. to get more values there. So in this case, it will return the different result. Okay, this is pretty much about it. In this CoreData tutorial, I only did two main functions. One is save, and second one is fetch. So in the next tutorial of CoreData, I will do NSBatch delete, which is the function you can clear your table, delete all the data, your table, or delete whatever you want, as well as using NSPredicate to filter your CoreData. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and this one probably is the last video tutorial that I made for 2016. I hope you enjoy this video and please subscribe. I promise you I will do a better job in 2017. Again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Bye.